Hey y'all, I'm Jurdi, and in this video, we're unfortunately going to be going over what has to be one of the worst launches in World of Warcraft history. If you don't know already, I'm talking about Season of Discovery's AQ Raid launch. Already, Phase 6 was off to a rough start once they announced the Classic Fresh during the war effort, which I'll just really never understand that decision. But this raid launch only elevated that to a level I didn't even know existed. So the main thing is that the World First race, as well as a bunch of other guilds, lockouts, and IDs are forever tainted because somehow these guilds that zoned into AQ as soon as it was launched, zoned into an AQ that had classic era health values, meaning bosses and trash were falling over in a matter of seconds. And to make matters even worse, they weren't getting any loot from any of these bosses, minus the bonus chests that you get after every 3 bosses for doing hard modes. How does that happen? I don't know. On top of that, once they fixed that issue, other guilds had unique issues from different bosses. Our guild got stuck on Huhuran because we wiped during the Enrage, and she was just stuck on Enrage the whole time when we came back. We started the fight with a perma-enraged Huhuran. Now, I've heard this takes up to 30 minutes to reset. We didn't know this though, but why is that even a thing? So that's where my guild stopped on Friday. My friend's guild had to stop on Twin Emps because after a couple of wipes, the doors closed. They couldn't go into the room anymore. They were just stuck, so they called it a night there. I hope when they zone back in, whenever they're doing a part 2, if they are, that they're open, or else that's their lockout. Small AQ, AQ10, or original AQ20, whatever you want to call it, also had similar issues with loot not being dropped and some tuning issues because it's just ridiculously easy. I'm talking about like bosses and trash fall over in a matter of seconds, still right now. The only boss, weirdly enough, that seemed appropriately tuned was Kuranax. That fight actually lasts a normal amount of time. Everything else falls over faster than the ZG boss. The only trash that was kind of hard was the room leading up to I Miss the Hunter, and the affixes that are also present in AQ40, big AQ, whatever you call it, also were hitting pretty hard. Everything else, including the trash at the very, very top, fell over in like 5 seconds. And then to make matters even worse, somehow, some way, the PTR vendors that have all the tier 2 loot on it for gold spawned in Stormwind and people bought that gear. It also had PvP gear on it. You can see this human right here with high warlord gear on. How does that happen? I have no idea how that can even happen. Now, Blizzard did release a message in-game stating that all of this was going to be removed from the players who bought it, so they were wasting their gold. But still, like, how? What? And then just a side note of something else that happened as well. The invasions that were happening in like Tenaris, Feralis, and stuff were still there during AQ's launch after the gong was ringing, after the war was over. I thought, oh, they're keeping that out there for people to still farm rep. That's awesome. I guess I just forgot to turn it off because randomly the next day, everything just disappeared. It wasn't during server reset, anything announced, just people were farming it and then poof, gone. So awesome. So all of this just, to be honest, really sucks. Like this sucks. And I'm frustrated that all of this happened. Like first, for some reason though, and I'll just never understand why y'all did this. Blizzard launched Classic Fresh servers during SOD's AQ war effort, splitting a lot of guilds' interest in even prepping for AQ, helping guildies get Scarab Lord, and farming for Brood Rep and all that nonsense. Y'all then shadow buffed all of AQ40 and made some major changes on your second PTR that again was during Classic Fresh's launch, and didn't tell anybody that the raid was buffed. I know it's Season of Discovery, but we shouldn't discover major changes happened on a PTR. You should tell us that. If you made changes that were that big, you need to announce those changes to us so we can prepare for that, or just don't have a PTR at all. Like, what was the point of this PTR with how bad the launch went anyways? I've always been considerate of the devs, and to Agrin, Zairi, and the rest of the staff, I still have mad respect for y'all, and I understand y'all are feeling just as bad if not worse than us, but it's just so frustrating and disappointing. A lot of us SOD players have already felt pretty bummed from Classic Fresh's awful timing. I can only imagine now how many players have either quit or considering quitting after how this launch went. Now, in an effort to try and make this, better for everybody in the SOD community and the Classic community, I made this forums post today that I'm going to talk about now that can help alleviate some of the damage done that happened on Friday. I'm not going to read the entire thing word for word, but I'm going to go over each bullet point that I made. First, remove completely or lower by half all Brood of Nosdormu rep requirements for tier 2.5 or double the rep gained in raids. This should already be a thing anyways with how short this phase is going to be compared to Classic 19 and 04, but this will make a lot of players happy who didn't realize what they missed out on farming because they were playing Classic fresh. Next, reduce all Scarab and Idol requirements for all items by half or increase the drop rate by 2. For same reasoning as above. 3. Reduce the Cenarian rep requirements for exalted items like Earthstrike and Profession Patterns. And then 4. Increase the mat drop rates like Obsidian Shards and Silithus Herb mats. This will lower auction house prices for all of these and make it super accessible for all players to get their crafted materials for their best crafted items. And then I wrote this at the bottom, although SOD Phase 6 looks amazing on paper with all the farming and open world content that we get by gathering all these new herbs, farming for these new consumes that were added in the game, the new bombs that were added in the game, all these cool toys that we got, and the open world PvP that comes along with it for competing for these herbs and stuff, you really should focus right now on keeping your players who are playing fresh and SOD happy, and doing all these things above will accomplish that. Because if you don't, you're just going to burn out a lot of players who really want to play both. And just as a side note, I do think some of the changes were a bit extreme in terms of the difficulty levels, like Cthulhu, Huhuran, and Fenris. I don't want them to be walks in the park. I do think right now in their current state, they are a little too challenging for pug raids to accomplish, as well as the amount of damage that's going out from the hard mode affixes. I love seeing challenges in SOD. I do. Blackwing Lair was way too easy. But again, I am thinking about trying to keep players who want to play fresh and SOD happy. And I think some nerfs to this, not extreme nerfs, but some will please most of your population in SOD. And that's it for me, you guys. Let me know how you feel down in the comments below. Just know that all disrespectful comments will be removed. I know that we all have our frustrations, but you can be respectful in expressing them. I'm streaming on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. Follow me on all the socials. Drop a like and a sub if you like this content. I will post not only Season of Discovery, but all classic content on this channel. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. And from somebody who is planning on no matter what, playing Season Discovery all the way through, for better or for worse, I'll see you on the next video.